Welcome to my first video filmed, or there I go again, recorded outside the United States in over 2 years. Today I'm in Istanbul, and one of the things, I've only been here once before. This is in 2011, I think it was. And one of the things that you should do when you first get into a new city is get comfortable with where you are. So today I'm exploring the public transit system. Istanbul has a lot of public transit options. Buses, trams, metro lines, trains, and of course the usual taxis and stuff like that. But I'm going to be taking what's called a ferry right now. It's not what's called a ferry, it is a ferry. I'm taking a ferry from where I am in a suburb called Karaköy to the the European side, and then probably wander around over there for a couple hours, and then head back on the Marmara, which is a train. The place I'm going is İminönü. On this ferry, it leaves at 10:55, so it's got about 8 minutes before it leaves. And it makes a stop in Karaköy. Both of those areas are on the European side of Istanbul. You can sit inside if you want to. But obviously, if this is your first time on a ferry, crossing the Bosphorus, I'm pretty sure you're going to want to sit on the outside. The last time I was here, it was in November of 2011, and it was freezing. So every time I took the ferry, I was always inside. So let's go outside. Okay, we're passing by some of the main tourist attractions in Istanbul right now. And you notice that they're all really close together. Over here is the Sultanahmet Mosque, better known as the Blue Mosque. In the middle is the Hagia Sophia, which over the ages has been a church, a mosque, a church, a museum, and now I think it's a mosque again. And then over here, this big building is the Topkapi Palace, which is where many of the Turkish sultans have lived for hundreds of years. Not all the same person, of course. And now I think pretty sure it's a museum. Turkey doesn't have a sultan anymore. Those are the three major tourist attractions that are grouped fairly close together in an area of town called Sultanahmet. Looking in this direction, we're looking at Asia. If we go over this way, we're now looking at Europe. Another attraction on the European side is the Galata Tower, which is that tower right there. It looks like a parapet or some kind of castle. That is the Galata Tower, and we're shortly going to be passing underneath the Galata Bridge, which is very famous for fishing. There are a lot of restaurants also underneath it. Lots of tourists walk across it to the İminönü section of Istanbul. I'm probably not saying that right. Here we are now passing underneath the Galata Bridge. Our first stop will be another suburb called Karaköy. I'm now on the İminönü side, the European side, and this is where a lot of the tourists stay when they come to Istanbul. I was here before, so I wanted to stay someplace that was cheaper and quieter, but still next to a lot of the public transport options. So I was lucky enough to find a great place in Katakoy. These are a lot of the ferry companies that either will take you to the Asian side or different ferry ports, or give tours in the Bosphorus, etc. These are simit. These are they look like bagels, but they're not quite. They're delicious though. This is the pudding shop. It's famous for being famous. In 2011, it was famous for being famous in the 1960s, back in the days when the hippie culture was just getting off the ground, vagabond travel, backpack travel, you name it, just getting started. And people that would travel through Europe and Asia would somehow meet up here at the pudding shop. Now this is actually a restaurant. It has nothing to do really with pudding. Although you might be able to buy pudding here, I don't know. I haven't eaten here since 2011. I don't plan on eating here now because it's smack dab in the middle of the tourist area. So no matter what you get, it's expensive. This is the Hagia Sophia. This is the mosque that we saw on the way over on the boat. This, like I said, used to be originally a church, then a mosque, then a church, and I think a museum, then a mosque. Anyway, now it's a mosque again. It's big. And I don't know if you can see the people in this picture, but there are long lines to get inside. And the funny thing is, this is a Wednesday, so I thought the tourist lines would not be that long on a weekday. Behind me is the Blue Mosque, or that's what it used to be called. I think now it's called the Sultanahmet Mosque. It's the mosque, the famous mosque that has the 6 minarets. And I think it's open. There are some repairs going on with it, but also there's lines for that also. Very, very long lines. This is the hotel I stayed in 2011, the Alzer Hotel, and it's right on the Hippodrome. We go this way. This is the Hippodrome. Has these obelisk monuments in the middle of it, and right across the other side of the Hippodrome is the Blue Mosque. The Alzer obviously is in the heart of the tourist area, and since this is the height of the tourist season, I'm sure that the cost is high to stay here. When I stayed here in 2011, I was here in November. I was practically the only one in the hotel, so it was definitely not tourist season. So I think I got a much better price then. I'm going to look this up when I get back to my apartment and see how much this hotel costs for a night now. One of my favorite stories, which I really like to tell, is about how a woman was asking me directions. I had just stepped out of my hotel. I came here to what is called the Hippodrome, which is right across from the Blue Mosque. And I'd been here for about a week, so naturally I felt like an expert. And she asked me, "Excuse me, sir, do you know where the Hippodrome is?" And it was one of those moments where I just smirked and I said, "Lady, you're standing on it." I always wanted to do that. Okay, we're not taking the ferry back to my apartment in Katakoy. We're going to take the metro to the Marmaray underneath the Bosphorus, and then we're going to be in Katakoy. The Marmaray is the only Istanbul form of public transport that connects the Asian and European sides of the city except for the ferry. It connects with all the metros. There are metros on both sides, but the Marmaray is the only train system that actually connects the two sides. Sadly, the Orient Express no longer leaves from Istanbul, but there is a restaurant. Hey folks, remember, if you subscribe to this channel, all of your wildest dreams will come true. I'll show myself out.